You think being nice will make people love you, but tell me, what has your kindness bought you except exhaustion and invisibility? You smile while others take your time, your energy, and your respect. Today, I'll show you why being nice is the weapon of the weak, and how to wield true power in a world that rewards only the ruthless and the disciplined. This is not a lesson in cruelty, it's a lesson in control. In every age, the meek are devoured by those who understand one truth. Power bends to those who dare to take it. Niccolo Machiavelli once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Yet today, most people seek to be liked, and in doing so, they forfeit their influence. This is a guide for those who are tired of being used, a guide for those ready to rise not through kindness, but through clarity, restraint, and courage. Stop being nice if you want power. Niceness is often confused with virtue, but in truth, it is usually submission dressed in politeness. The person who tries to please everyone ends up respected by no one. When you make kindness your shield, you become predictable, easy to manipulate, and endlessly available to those who see your willingness not as goodness but as weakness. Power is never given to the agreeable, it is taken by those who dare to assert boundaries and command their own respect. The world is built on hierarchy, whether we admit it or not. Those who hesitate to offend are quietly ruled by those who do not. Being nice is often a strategy of survival, a way to avoid confrontation, to gain approval, to be liked. But this strategy always carries a silent cost. You give away your time, your energy, your identity, and in exchange, you receive temporary acceptance that vanishes the moment you stop serving others' interests. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you teach the world that your needs are negotiable. Every time you apologize for existing, you signal that your presence depends on others' permission. This is how the nice person becomes invisible, not because they are unworthy, but because they never dared to demand to be seen. To gain power, you must understand that respect is not born from compliance, but from contrast. Those who dare to say no are rare, and rarity commands attention. The person who sets limits becomes valuable because their time and attention are not easily obtained. Power flows to those who control their access. Stop explaining your decisions. Stop justifying your boundaries. A decisive no carries more power than 1,000 polite excuses. Silence, when used with intention, can strike deeper than anger. When people cannot read you, they begin to respect you, even fear you. The kind of power worth having is not built on cruelty or arrogance, but on clarity. It means knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you will not tolerate. Being kind should be a choice, not a compulsion. Give your kindness as a gift, not as a payment. When you stop being nice out of fear, you begin to act out of strength. Power does not require you to harm others, it requires you to stop harming yourself through endless self-sacrifice. Remember, people do not value what is always available. Withdraw your constant approval, and you will discover that your presence becomes something others work to earn. That is where true influence begins. You've been told to be kind, polite, and agreeable. But look around, the world isn't ruled by the nice. It's ruled by those who dare to say no. This isn't about becoming cruel. It's about reclaiming control. Because the more you try to please, the more invisible you become. Today, we expose the silent truth. Being nice is the fastest way to lose power. Niceness is the currency of the powerless. It buys approval, not respect. The world rewards confidence, not compliance, strength, not surrender. Every time you silence your opinion to keep the peace, you trade influence for comfort. Every time you apologize for existing, you make yourself smaller in a room full of takers. Power does not belong to those who bend, it belongs to those who stand firm, even when it makes others uncomfortable. So stop being endlessly nice, start being unshakably clear, because when you stop trying to be liked, you start to be feared and respected. You've been told since childhood that being nice is the key to getting ahead, that kindness opens doors, that politeness earns trust, that people will reward you for always doing the right thing. But what no one tells you is that being nice without limits turns you into a servant of everyone else's comfort. You start living your life in service to others' approval, and one day you wake up realizing that everyone respects your effort, but no one respects you. Niceness, when used without awareness, is not a virtue. It's a trap. It teaches you to smile through discomfort, to agree when you disagree, to tolerate disrespect because confrontation feels wrong. You say yes out of fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of standing alone. But every time you say yes when you want to say no, a piece of your power slips away. The nice person is not feared, not admired, not taken seriously. They are convenient, and convenience never commands respect. You see, in this world, people don't value what's easily available. When you are endlessly kind, endlessly giving, endlessly forgiving, you become predictable. Predictability is weakness in the eyes of those who play for power. The powerful understand that respect is built on restraint. They know when to withdraw, when to deny, when to create distance. The ability to say no without apology is the foundation of strength. Think about it. Who are the people you respect most? Are they the ones who bend over backwards to please everyone? Or the ones who stand firm, who hold their ground even when it costs them approval? Power belongs to the latter. It's not about being cruel, it's about clarity. The powerful do not chase validation. They command it through presence and decisiveness. They do not offer explanations for every decision. They move with quiet certainty, and that confidence alone unsettles those who depend on people pleasing to survive. Being nice makes you agreeable, but being clear makes you unshakable. The difference is everything. Nice people try to avoid offending others. Powerful people accept that offense is sometimes necessary. If truth offends someone, so be it. If boundaries upset someone, let them be upset. Your duty is not to maintain everyone's comfort. Your duty is to protect your energy, your dignity, and your mission. The moment you stop apologizing for having standards, everything shifts. People begin to listen differently, speak to you differently, treat you differently. Your time becomes sacred, your attention becomes valuable. The world starts to notice that you are not here to please it, you are here to command it. That shift is where power begins. You ever wonder why people always come to you when they need something, but disappear the moment you need them? Why your kindness gets mistaken for obligation? It's not because they're cruel. It's because you've trained them to take. Every time you say yes out of guilt, every time you save someone from the consequences of their own choices, you teach them one thing: that your energy, your time, your care are free. But nothing powerful is ever free. Today, we'll talk about why you're being used by everyone and how to stop feeding the hands that drain you. You don't realize it, but you've built a reputation not as a leader, not as a force, but as a helper. You've become the one who always steps in, the one who fixes, the one who carries the weight no one else wants to hold. And the world rewards you with temporary gratitude, then moves on as if you never existed. They don't respect your generosity, they depend on it. You are the safety net that everyone falls on, but no one thanks. The truth is brutal but simple. People use what they can access. They take from what is offered. They drain what doesn't defend itself. When you make yourself endlessly available, you become invisible. When you make your time free, it loses value. When you give more than you can afford, you teach others to take more than they deserve. The powerful understand something: the nice never do giving without limit. It destroys respect. To be valued, your presence must have boundaries. To be remembered, your help must be selective. Stop rushing to prove your worth through endless giving. Power does not chase, it attracts. It does not overextend, it withholds. It gives when it chooses, not when it's demanded. You are being used not because you are too kind, but because you are too afraid to be seen as unkind. You say yes to avoid guilt. You rescue others to feel needed, but that constant giving is a slow form of self-erasure. The moment you stop trying to rescue everyone, something remarkable happens. The users fade and the genuine ones remain. That is the moment you stop being used and start being respected. You've been told that helping others makes you a good person, that sacrifice is noble, that saying yes proves your heart is pure. But what if I told you that's the very reason you feel drained, overlooked, and unappreciated? The world doesn't exploit the cruel, it exploits the kind. The more available you make yourself, the more invisible you become. People learn your patterns. They see your eagerness to help, your discomfort with saying no, and they start to treat your effort as something owed to them. Not out of malice, but because you've trained them to take. Every time someone says, "You're the only one I can count on," you feel flattered, but underneath that flattery hides a trap. You've become the dependable one, dependable not because of strength, but because of predictability. You carry everyone's burdens, and they call it kindness, but it's not kindness when it's one-sided. It's servitude disguised as virtue. You think being helpful earns love, but what it really earns is dependency. The moment you stop giving, those same people vanish, and you're left wondering why no one stays when you finally need something in return. You are being used because you confuse generosity with obligation. You give without asking what it costs. You fix problems that aren't yours to solve. You apologize for setting limits. You mistake peacekeeping for peace. And so, little by little, you hand out pieces of yourself until there's almost nothing left to protect. The truth is, people value what they work for. When they don't have to earn your time, they don't respect it. When they don't have to earn your attention, they take it for granted. You've become easy access in a world that worships scarcity. Powerful people understand something that most don't. Help is not something you give endlessly. It's something you grant selectively. Every favor, every act of kindness should have intent. When you give with purpose, you build influence. When you give from guilt, you build resentment. You don't owe anyone constant support, endless forgiveness, or unconditional access to your energy. The moment you start believing you do, you become a tool in someone else's strategy. The real danger is not that people use you, but that you start believing you deserve it. You begin to see your exhaustion as normal, your depletion as duty. You start to measure your worth by how much you can endure. But power cannot grow in a person who never keeps any of it for themselves. To stop being used, you must first stop offering yourself to everyone who asks. You must learn the art of letting others face their own storms without rushing to be their shelter every time the rain begins. You've been taught that success means constant movement, grind harder, work longer, never stop. But look around, the busiest people are often the least powerful. They chase everything and control nothing. Here's the truth no one tells you: doing more doesn't make you powerful, it makes you predictable. Real power belongs to those who know when to stop, when to step back, and when silence speaks louder than effort. Because the one who does less with intention always controls the one who's desperate to do more. The world worships activity. It praises the ones who hustle, the ones who never rest, the ones who confuse exhaustion with progress. But power has never belonged to the frantic. It belongs to the still, the calm, the calculating. The powerful understand that every action must serve a purpose, and anything done without strategy weakens your position. They do not move for the sake of movement, they move when it matters. Doing less is not laziness, it's leverage. It's the quiet understanding that every time you act, you reveal your hand. Every time you chase, you lose mystery. Every time you rush, you surrender control. But when you slow down, when you choose precision over panic, something changes. Others start reacting to you. They begin to move in response to your silence, your restraint, your deliberate absence. The shocking truth is that the person who does less often achieves more because their actions carry weight. Their words echo longer. Their stillness demands attention. The frantic are loud but forgettable. The focused are quiet but unforgettable. Power is not about how much you do, it's about how little you must do to make others move. You've been taught that if you just work harder, grind longer, and never stop, success will eventually bow before your effort. But here's the truth that society hides from you. Endless motion is not power, it's desperation. The world is full of people who never stop moving, never stop talking, never stop chasing. They confuse activity with achievement, speed with direction, and effort with influence. Yet the ones who truly command power are not the busiest. They are the most deliberate. Doing less is not about laziness, it's about leverage. It's about restraint, control, and precision. The person who always needs to act is a slave to their impulses, while the one who chooses when to act becomes the master of every situation. When you do less, you create space, and that space unsettles people. They start to wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you might do next. Mystery is power, and overexposure is weakness. Every unnecessary move you make drains your authority. Every time you rush to prove something, you show uncertainty. Those who hold real power rarely explain, rarely justify, rarely chase. They let others fill the silence with guesses, assumptions, and fear. The less you reveal, the more others project. The less you move, the more others move around you. Doing less is not passive, it's strategic stillness. It's the art of knowing that restraint commands attention in a world addicted to noise. Look at those who dominate their fields: leaders, creators, thinkers. The common thread isn't frantic energy, it's composed control. They don't waste their words trying to convince anyone. They let their presence do the speaking. They understand that attention is currency, and overspending it makes you poor. The one who constantly posts, constantly talks, constantly needs to be seen, becomes background noise. But the one who speaks rarely, acts selectively, and moves with purpose when they appear, everyone listens. Doing less allows your actions to carry gravity. Every word becomes intentional. Every gesture means something. Power is not about doing everything, it's about making what you do impossible to ignore. Most people burn themselves out trying to prove they're capable, while the powerful conserve energy, waiting for the precise moment that matters. They strike once and it's enough. The shocking power of doing less lies in the discipline it demands. It forces you to observe rather than react, to think rather than rush, to plan rather than panic. It's not how much you can handle that defines your strength, it's how much you can withhold. When you master that, people begin to orbit around your calm, drawn to the quiet control that they cannot understand but instinctively respect. Power is not about domination, arrogance, or cruelty. It's about mastery over yourself, your energy, your emotions, and your presence. The world has taught you to be endlessly kind, endlessly available, endlessly active. But that constant giving, that constant doing, that constant pleasing has stripped away your edge. Power is not found in pleasing others. It's found in understanding that your worth does not depend on their approval. Stop being nice when niceness costs you your respect. Stop giving to those who only take. Stop moving so fast that you forget to think. The ones who rise in this world are not the loudest nor the busiest, they are the most intentional. They know when to act, when to pause, and when to walk away. They speak less, but every word lands. They do less, but every move matters. Kindness should be a weapon, not a weakness. Restraint should be your strategy, not your fear. Confidence should not come from being accepted, but from knowing you can stand alone. The moment you stop living to be liked, you become untouchable. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you become unpredictable. The moment you stop doing more just to be seen, you become magnetic. Power begins where permission ends. It lives in silence, in discipline, in the calm refusal to chase what does not serve you. You don't need to prove your worth, you need to protect it. Because in a world that demands your constant attention, the rarest and most feared power is stillness. And when you master that, you no longer follow the world. The world begins to follow you.